Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Fall into AI session. Today, I have two speakers, Alexander Dill and Andrew Phanor. Alexander Dill serves as the XR designer for the Center for Innovation in Teaching and Learning at UIUC. He holds master's degree in both industrial design and human-computer interaction, reflecting his passion for playful user interaction and the creation of virtual experiences. In his role at CITL, Alex designs, develops, and implements immersive educational experiences using XR technologies. Drawing on a co-design mindset gained from his teaching experience, he works closely with instructional designers, educators, and other university stakeholders to create impactful learning solutions that enhance student engagement and comprehension. I have another speaker, Andrew Phanor. He is the audiovisual technology specialist at Center for Innovation in Teaching and Learning at the University of Illinois Urbana-Champaign. He earned his degree in music technology from University of Illinois and uses his experiences from AV and music tech to explore interactive technologies, including his work at CITL, where he stays up to date on the latest uses of technology, including the applications of VR in education and training. Thank you and enjoy the session.
Okay. Thank you for that introduction.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, so I am Andrew.
I'm Alex.
Yeah, and we're just going to talk a little bit today about Ovation VR. It's a public speaking practice tool that you can use to try to practice speeches and different things, but we'll get a little bit into that. First thing I just wanted to mention is that most of this is set up to be like a little bit of a demo that people here can try. I'm so sorry for everyone online that you're going to be missing out on a little bit of it with that. However, you are more than welcome to contact us. We'll have our contact up on after at the end of the presentation, as well as making an appointment with us to try it out, or come during our open hours at the Innovation Studio. That's Armory 172 from noon to 4 on Mondays and Tuesdays. There you go. But that being said, so yeah, we're just going to really get into it and really show how we've been using this technology.
Yeah. All right. So, and I forgot to click on the thing. I'm sorry. There we go. Now I should have control. Yeah, there we go. All right. So, way back when we first started this journey, we were asked to look into software to kind of merge virtual reality and artificial intelligence, as both of those kind of fall within our jurisdiction here, and especially as the XR designer, trying to find something that fits well with the idea of innovation in teaching and learning. And so we saw a couple different options that existed, but none were as impressive as Ovation. So what is Ovation? Ovation is essentially a speech training software where you get to talk to a AI agent and you get to practice your soft skills. And what's really cool about Ovation is not just how immersive it is, but it's also how it gives you real-time feedback and it's very in-depth in the feedback it gives you. And there's a lot of different experiences that exist on this platform that are actually submitted by other universities. So for example, I've reached out to the developer of this application and I've been talking back and forth with him on creating some of these experiences ourselves. So some of the experiences that are a part of this application have been because of user requests. So the idea of a medical examiner where you're interviewing a patient trying to understand what their symptoms are, that came from a university asking for that specific environment. So they are very open to collaborating with universities like us. And as you can see on the screen there are a bunch of different ones that are actually very flexible to our needs. And that's really the strength of this software, is that it's very flexible and can kind of suit whatever your scenario is. Do you want to talk about what that feedback and evaluation is?
Going back for just a moment, right? The VR and AI is a very immersive experience, and it's a lot different when it comes to interfacing with someone you could see in front of you and have a conversation with versus just text on a screen. Even if you're using the voice to text and a screen reader, it is a way different experience being able to work with VR on an avatar like that. I myself have one of the first things I tried was one of the interview experiences, because you can do like a job interview. And so like I set it up where it's like, for example, like a dream company of mine, it is a made up company, but like, like a dream job. And I was like trying to just go through it and just kind of go over my like resume and stuff, stuff I've done, answer its questions. And as it went on, I just found myself like trying really hard to like impress this guy when I needed to remind myself like, oh wait, I'm still just talking to the AI chatbot, but I really feel like this is a whole different experience. But yeah, so feedback and evaluation, like this is one of like the main strong points of Ovation. Primarily, it has a few different things that it'll evaluate on, and primarily it's the AI giving you speech feedback and analysis. If you've ever tried the PowerPoint presentation trainer, it does give you some of these same things. So like what kind of pace you're speaking at, if you're saying too many filler words, but it has a lot more depth to it than that. And it gets even more specific into the content and how you say and present your words. You can take up to 5 different metrics. They call them factors that you can customize on what is it looking for when it's like trying to evaluate you. Are you being very concise? Are you empathizing with the person you're speaking with? Are you able to demonstrate a good knowledge of what you're presenting? You can also like change up what you wanted to help evaluate you on, and like make your own of these type of experiences. There's also a little bit at the end when it evaluates you, it gives you some tips. So like some very specific things that you can take away from the experience, especially when it has some quotes. It'll like take a section. It'll be like, I really liked what you were very strong here. This shows like a lot of confidence here. Just, be very careful about how you say this. It comes off like this. It'd be very critical of you, but sometimes you just need that like very critical feedback. And sometimes when you're talking to another person to try to help you with your speech, they're going to soften the blow. The AI will not, but it will still tell you where you're doing well.
And to build off on that, not only does it not hold back, but you can actually make it even harsher with like how you decide to program it. Which, going back to that idea of like being able to customize all the factors and the way it evaluates you. If you have a specific style or you're looking for a specific way of speaking or presenting, for example, when I used to teach industrial design students, I would evaluate them on how well they would pitch their ideas to like stakeholders to try and get funding. And so we had a specific set of criteria that we would look into. So if that's something that you're interested in, you have a very specific set of criteria, you can customize it to be exactly that. So you can actually make it evaluate like how you would evaluate a student or how like, yes.
You know if this is used for language learning in any way? And also, does it consider language learning when it gives you feedback on like unrelated tasks?
Yes, so it does. It can recognize multiple different languages. I'm trying to remember just how many.
They're still adding more. Like
yeah, they are.
They added like 2 more. I forgot which ones they were. But yeah, it does have like a language learning experience. 2, in fact. One of them is that like natural language tutor. And the other one is like a speaking exam. So you could kind of like put it like you want it to evaluate you like a little bit more closely rather than help you along the way. I should probably mention Ovation. So under the hood it is using ChatGPT to like do these evaluations and like help you out. But it is not training on what you say. Everything that you say in there is like very private. And you can delete them at any time, including right when you finish speaking. So you don't need to worry about what you're saying, your presentation, or if you were like very embarrassed how you were talking. You don't need to keep that, and you don't need to worry about that being like somewhere out in the void. But with that, there's only one experience that can take a little bit of that, and that is the language learning, because you can give it some of your previous recordings before you delete, if you didn't delete them. to take the transcripts of those so it knows what level you are in that language. What did you go over last time? So that it can just like help teach you that way.
Yeah, like a checkpoint. Basically, where were you last time? How have you improved? And going off of the recordings, you will have access to all of it. So including all the feedback, the transcripts through their web portal, that then you can choose to completely wipe it entirely, but you only have access to it. So for example, Ovation as a company, they don't actually have access to it unless you specifically give them access to it. They want to keep it locked down so that it's your data, your information. Like they don't want you to feel like they're listening to every word you say, because security is a big important thing for them. Yes.
There's several questions around the same thing. Do we have free licenses available? How do people get access? What's the deal?
Okay. Should I go to the next slide? Because we kind of talked about that.
I mean, first I can just like talk about it because like that's not really covered here, but so free licenses, not really, but so we at CITL have a organization license, and I'll talk a little bit more about what that does and what it gives you. But the baseline of how many licenses it gives you is 5 floating licenses. You can have as many accounts as you want, but only 5 can be going at the same time, and from the same set of like same pool of tokens that you can interact with the AI.
And this was one of those things that we asked initially when we were interviewing the developer on this, because we want to know like how flexible were they for our needs. The thing is that even though there's like 5 consecutive floating licenses, if you go over that much, it's not going to kick you off. It will kind of Ovation will let you know, say, hey, you went over your maximum allowed licenses. Do you need more? And then you can work out a deal with like getting more licenses based on your needs. It's not going to just cap you off and say, no, you can't actually access this today.
Yeah, and then outside of that, there's like the individual licenses. It's not very expensive, like of a monthly fee. And you get, as much as you want, like for yourself on your own account to like really work with it. However, there is also a 7-day free trial with that if you want to give it a try on your own. I do suggest coming into here, don't go out buying a whole headset, but if you have one, go ahead and give it a try. There is a desktop version, but it does still feel like a different experience from that. You still kind of feel like you're talking to the screen, unless you're trying to get that like realistic Zoom call experience.
We'll be using the desktop version today specifically for a spectator view so that you can see what it looks like inside the virtual environment. So you don't necessarily have to, for those that are online, you don't have to put on the headset here, and you'll be able to see what it looks like inside the virtual environment.
Yeah, and then on feedback evaluation, there's like a second point on recording and playback. That is where like there's a bit of a human element that you can still evaluate. So you can take the recording, evaluate yourself. It'll record, like it does have a like voice recording, and it like record your hands and your face. Again, you can delete that at any time. But that is a good way so that you could like see what was going on, how were you speaking, and how can you improve from that. The normal things that they kind of teach you if you try to take a public speaking class, try recording yourself and then like learn from that. There's also the multiplayer mode, which is how we're also going to be doing that spectator mode. It allows you to get with other people and have a coach that'll be able to sit in there, or like a couple of people that are going to watch and then like take turns to speak. That way you have other people that can also give you feedback on top of the AI.
And talking about like that recording, it's one thing to like hear yourself recording. For example, I don't like the sound of my voice through recordings. It's just something no one really does. But it's one thing to like watch a video playback of yourself or hear yourself, but then to put on a headset and see like the history or like a version of you go through a conversation and see how much you're actually moving, see how much like you're using your hands. Even though like you can do something similar on a 2D screen, it's a completely different experience actually getting to be in the same space with yourself and watching yourself and how you present and what your body language looks like and what your voice sounds like. It's really like, it's a weird out of body experience. It's super cool. Go to the next slide. All right.
So everything within the experience is very customizable. You can very customizable. There you go. We talked a little bit about those factors on like you can customize how and what it evaluates you on what it should be looking for. But there's also like a little bit more you can do with that. You can have your prompts for different scenarios. So you can create like, for example, let's say that you are trying to talk to your boss for a raise, right? You can have you like, you are my supervisor. I'm coming up to you to ask for a raise. You know, it'll get as specific as you want, so that it can like really behave in the way that you want it to, and like really make that experience as like immersive and realistic as possible. There's also different things such as the avatar itself can have its own persona. There's a recent thing that they've added, and that is a whole separate prompt that you can give it a whole personality, a whole like speaking tone and pace, so that it feels like it is this person. Instead, that's how it's like, you know, kind of acting, instead of just like kind of generating how, you know, ChatGPT would. But it does also have like a preset set of personas on the avatars that you can try picking from if you kind of want to talk to someone that's like a little bit more critical, you know, very reasoning focused, or versus somebody that is like, you know, very supportive, very like kind and assuring. You know, depends on what kind of person you want to talk to.
I'll go ahead and start getting things connected here.
Yeah, and I can talk a little bit more about some of these other customization options. So when you get into the experience, you can also customize how it looks and how it feels. For example, you can have it set up where you have like a projector with your slides. You can have it set up where you have like, you know, your remote, a microphone in your hand. And these are like different ways that it can help you try to make that environment that you want to practice in. So if I'm practicing in the classroom, I'd kind of expect I'd be able to see my laptop on a podium or on a desk or something, so that I can go through like my class material, and then you know, maybe have something that I can click in my hand, or just use the laptop itself to advance my slides, and that will kind of help you get that kind of feel and that kind of pace. All right. Should go to the next slide before I go.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah. So I did talk about the thing with the organizational license. It does give you like this extra level of customization that you can set up ahead of time. Unlike the experience within the headset where you have to kind of go through these steps as you get started, the organizational license allows you to like create these assignments that you can craft that experience with those scenarios, those modifiers, that personality ahead of time. So a little bit here. So we made like a few different experiences. Can you get pre-expert podcasts?
Yep. Podcast format.
Yeah. So here I kind of created a podcast like type of like assignment where you're talking to like the CFO of a company. And you know, you kind of want to get to know like, how did you get to this success? What did your career look like? What steps did you take? You know, what is the real secret sauce to being successful? You know, can you open up the Copilot tab?
Oh, sure.
Yeah. So what I did, and this is like what they really encourage you to do. They do have like a template that you could use for these prompts for ChatGPT, or you could kind of use like any other LLM chatbot to kind of try doing this. So I had like this like little prompt here where I tried asking it to give me instructions for a CFO. I wanted to know their education. I wanted to know what steps they took in their career. I wanted them to have achievements so that I had things to talk about with them and they had things to talk about with me. You know, very, very like concrete things. And it gave me a lot, but you could only feed it so much information. So if you scroll down some more, I tried a couple different times to have it condense it. So that's like the first time I tried condensing it, and it just didn't feel right. It lost all its personality. And then this time, now it gave me like a little bit more of a background, more of a personality to work with. And so I tried adding the persona thing. So like, a short bio. Here's how this person is in 500 characters or less. So it could fit within the app when I'm making the prompt. Give me the personality traits. And for specifically that podcast experience, you know, here are like some points that you can talk about. Here are those accomplishments, what you can look on a piece of paper inside the experience to start as talking points as a podcast host. So we're going to load that up, and I'll go through, and you'll see a little bit of what it's like to be talking with the AI like that.
Right, so I will go ahead. And so this is going to start going. I will send you the invite so that you can then be the speaker. So let me go ahead and I'm going to drag over now so you can all see. This is what the scenario actually is. And this is what it looks like inside the virtual environment. So right now, this is the scenario where we can see it's basically exactly what we said for the assignment. I'm going to now create a new multiplayer session, and I'm going to send on over.
Okay, now I'm in.
Right, so you're in now?
Yeah. Okay. How do you send it?
Yeah, give me just a second. I can adjust others. I'm going to make sure that I've got the right assignment. So assignments will appear on like the first page, and you can select, for example, in the podcast room, there's something labeled an assignment. So students or educators or anyone else can see that. This is the one we just created. So I'm going to go ahead and select it. And now I'm going to go back over here, and I'm going to send one to Andrew.
All right, I got it.
All right, he'll get it. He'll appear in the space. And I'm going to minimize this so I can actually see. This is going to be our person that we'll talk to, Jordan. And I'm going to look around here. Where is Andrew? Oh, there you are.
There you go. I just appeared.
Right.
Oh, yeah, make sure to mute that.
Yep, I'm going to turn down his volume so we will hear him, but the AI will be able to hear him as well. So his role is speaker, and you can change this on the fly. So for example, if I go back to my menu, you'll see that my role is speaker as well, but I don't want the AI to hear me. So I'm just going to choose my role to be spectator. So now I am the role of the spectator, and Andrew is going to be talking to this person here. So Andrew, whenever you're ready.
Okay, I'm just going to get started. So, okay, I'm not hearing myself twice, so that's.
Right. Did you start the assignment?
I'm just about to.
Okay, then you go ahead and do that.
You'll see it on the wall. Okay. Hi, welcome to the Finance Podcast. I'm here today with Jordan Caldwell as my guest, CFO of Virion Technologies. Jordan, how are you doing today?
Hey, Andrew. Thanks for having me. I'm doing well. And it's actually Virion Technologies. But don't worry, I answer to a lot of company names after 25 years in this business. Glad to be here and looking forward to the conversation.
Yeah, so sorry about that mistake. So first thing I wanted to go over, I want to know a little bit about what got you started on your journey. So can you tell me a little bit about your education?
Absolutely, yeah. So I got my undergrad in accounting from the University of Illinois Urbana-Champaign, which honestly set the foundation for everything. I was kind of a numbers kid, always fascinated by how things add up, and maybe this sounds odd, but how money moves through systems, you know? After a couple years working, I knew I wanted to broaden my perspective. So I went for my MBA at Wharton, focused on finance and strategy. That's where things really clicked for me. Strategy, big picture thinking, not just crunching numbers, but figuring out how to use them to drive a business forward. So both schools were pretty formative, but honestly, a lot of the learning happened out in the field. Making mistakes, picking yourself up, and just trying to do a little better every day.
That is great to hear. Sounds like you are very well educated in the field and you've got everything going for you. Can you also tell me, you said you were working in the field between your bachelor's and your MBA. Can you tell me a little bit about that? Where did you work and what were you doing?
Yeah, so that was in Chicago. I started out as a junior financial analyst at this mid-sized manufacturing firm. Nothing glamorous, honestly. I was basically deep in spreadsheets, pulling together quarterly reports, tracking costs, the typical early analyst grind. But looking back, that was such a good place to learn the nuts and bolts.
I might
How
stop the
departments
experience here.
interact, where the financial blind spots are,
I
all
has
that.
a lot to say and
Plus,
very natural.
also when I got to see the
So I'm going to go ahead and do that.
Okay. So what we're going to see here is those factors and that feedback that we were talking about earlier. So what's going to happen here is it's going to load up really quick. And do you want me to go ahead and click view full report?
I think they might have patched the thing where because I did have the factors hidden because this one I didn't want as a training thing, but yeah, I think he actually fixed it.
So the bug that we submitted earlier this week, they patched it. That's hilarious.
Yeah, there was a bug. When you're making the assignment, you can instead of having like the person who's doing the experience see all these things. If you like, for example, if you want them to just talk to someone like casually and then you evaluate them externally after the fact, then you can just hide all those factors so that it's more of something that you could go over later.
Oh, here we go. I can see now, I believe. Oh, I must have the speaker roll during. Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, it'd be my recording.
Because so that another thing about like that privacy, right? As a spectator, I can't see the feedback from his because it's his recording session. It's his session essentially.
Question, Andrew, you saw like a different perspective than we saw. You saw like this from your point of
Yes.
view and looking at the guy.
Yeah, ready to start.
Then when you get the recap, is it still that same perspective or is it like the outside that we get?
You
It'll be
get like
like
a
this.
floating avatar. So let me.
Go ahead and
Yeah.
I'll start to cast your view so that we can now see what Andrew sees. Go ahead and start casting.
Casting.
All right.
I'll try not to have my head bob too much so you
Yeah.
you don't get dizzy.
Oh, I see.
So hang on. Oh,
Alright, see you.
wait, hang on. Wait. Let me move it over so that they can see. There we go.
All right. So this is what I see. So I see like my little floating hands, and I see I guess here, and how when you're doing the recording, as like we have the multiplayer. So that's just sitting there. I've been seeing that the whole time. That is that view that you were seeing in the previous perspective. So that's what's going on there. I guess while we have this report open, you can see a little bit more about what you get, what happens when you have a recording. So like, let's see, let me just find, like this one where I was talking to a coffee expert. I really like coffee. So I had this like whole thing. So I got like these different points where it kind of scored me on that conversation, everything like I was doing, and some feedback that'll help me out. And sometimes gamifying things that you're learning is great. So these scores, sometimes you would just want to go for like 100%. I am the most engaging person ever. Okay, maybe I could be more engaging, but I'll always be able to improve. And then I could take like my tips, see a little bit more on what I can do to improve, refine my introduction. So maybe I should have done a better introduction here, and that's what it's telling me to do. So if I'm going to do a podcast, I'll just have that prepared next time. Some quotes. I forgot the name that it generated for the coffee expert. So I said, "Would you like to introduce yourself?" And this is like what it gave on like if I choose to do that as my opener. But yeah, there's a little bit here. Everything that you can do to kind of give you like a score and evaluate you, give you as much feedback as possible so that you can just continue to improve.
I'll go ahead and go back to what we had. All right. So now let's go back to our presentation.
Yeah, I guess yeah, that's a little creepy. But I guess
Speaker avatar is moving. Even when you're talking, it's not like a still one, like when the other speaker, like it's moving
yeah.
to keep it more natural.
I could go next slide. So before we get into like giving some opportunities for demonstrations, does anybody have any questions?
Yes, there's an online question. Have you compared, well, okay, they asked two questions now and that moving on me. Have you compared this feedback to that of teachers or someone who might evaluate this kind of thing regularly to see how the accuracy might be?
We did talk to someone from Speakers Workshop.
Yes.
Laura Stengram. She reached out and we talked a little bit to her about it. But I don't think we had like enough information there to like really like how accurate is it, how much like feedback is it giving, to really put that together.
Kind of to go off of that, there was, so we also did another experience earlier this week where we set up the idea of you're advising a student or you're speaking to it as a student, speaking to an advisor, like an academic advisor. And to put it through its paces, something that I did as a test is I told it the story of how I went from a mechanical engineer to an industrial designer. And the same kind of scenario where I went in to my advisor, I said, I'm not really feeling engineering. What can you help me with? These are what my passions are. These are things I like. And it did end up pointing me towards industrial design as far as like, that's actually what in real world, that's what happened. And then it was able to mimic that almost immediately. And I thought that was really cool. We didn't tell it to direct me towards that. It was able to infer based off of what my interests were and what its knowledge of the classes that existed, that industrial design seemed like the right fit for me. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah. I did want to interject that this is a pilot. We have, it's more introducing it to people to have them try it out to kind of see, do they think this is a useful tool and that kind of stuff. So we started the pilot a few months ago, and so we're early on.
Yes. Yeah.
So a couple more questions, if I may. Jen Chen says, I'm not sure how I feel about the obvious accent that the AI interviewee had. Is there a way to customize the AI like the voice?
So there's actually a specific reason.
I'll go over this. So there's a very specific reason for why it has the voice and the look it does, because these are actually based off the real people that work at Ovation. So these are modeled off of the employees that have like submitted themselves for 3D scans and have recorded their voice. So that is an actual person, but you can name him whatever it is. And there's plenty of different avatars that are of very different backgrounds and ethnicities, and and like different vocal patterns that you can customize it to be like that. But the reason why, at least why that body had that voice, is they tried to match it to the actual person that it's based off of. So that's, I guess, a explanation for why.
So, but you choose kind of the avatar.
Yeah, you can choose the avatar.
But it already has that matched voice. You're not saying, okay.
You're not telling it to have a different voice.
Yeah.
And to go off of that, a lot of the demonstrations I've seen is you're a speaker presenting to a crowd. And so the voices of the crowd are far less important in those contexts.
Yeah, but those are still the same avatars would be in that crowd.
Mm-hmm.
So when they're asking a question, they're going to ask with the accent of that avatar, of that voice of that avatar. So if this avatar was the one asking a question, it would still have the same voice that we heard during the little demonstration.
There's also modifiers, so you can give them different accents and also the different languages. So like you can specify in your scenario what kind of, like, if you want them to have like a Traian accent or language, it's actually the person that it's based off of doing like voice training for that accent, then trying to mimic that accent or trying to do that specifically.
Yeah, you're kind of just like changing your voice that's already recorded with like, it's already.
I can set up some weird things if the same avatar, because like this expert that you're interviewing in a podcast could be a student in your economics 101 class with a novice question. Like, why is this dude showing up?
Yes. Yeah, I mean, I could put up what the speech looks like and what it can customize.
Yeah, let's do that.
So you can see a little bit more about that.
All right,
I do want to throw out, we're getting a fair amount of questions.
Okay.
I'm going to call pouring in, as it were. So.
While I load up another, which
I'll load it up.
Okay. Well, I was gonna say, since I'm the host. Never mind. Yeah, it'll just take me to it.
Yep.
What are the questions, Jim?
Yeah,
sure.
I'm gonna switch my role back to.
Does the AI tend to be extra positive like ChatGPT is?
You can customize that. It doesn't always have to be like super positive.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I like to, actually that still goes part into what I'm like looking for here. So so hit continue. So those modifiers. So if you're doing this by yourself, you kind of have these scenario modifiers, as you can see.
Oh wait, if I hit, they can't see. I'm gonna
see.
Okay. Hang on.
Yeah. Let them see what I can see.
Grabbing that.
Better?
Hang on. Yeah, I'm gonna show them your view because I've set up the spectator. All right. Now you can talk now.
Okay. So here's a scenario modifier. So this is what you see when you're trying to like make who you're talking to. And this one is specific to the speech ones, like the audience. That's what it's asking. And then it has some like saved ones that is like loaded on there. So your audience can be business professionals, general public, students of different types. And then these difficulty ones, these are how difficult the questions that it asks you are, like something that, so this one says, focus on nuanced, abstract, or controversial aspects. So like it's going to give you like some very difficult questions to answer. And it's also the tone. You have skeptical, you have confrontational. You can kind of make it like a little bit more like, hey, this doesn't sound right. You should like elaborate on this as a question, But yeah, it's not always going to be very like positive or the whole time. And yeah, this is like the one time I've seen anything run ChatGPT say no frequently.
Yes. And I pulled this up as well so you can see that there are like I believe this is the cap of like where we're not going to start to get repeat people. That
No, there are repeats.
I think there's a couple repeats, but you can customize. So this is like a large auditorium, but each of these people here were modeled after real people, and so their voice profiles are based off of these actual people.
And then there's another question here about, can we control the background and the people or not?
Yeah, like let me continue. So I changed the venue to be this like hotel room. I'm in this hotel conference room. And so like, let's take the audience and let me make it only 30% populated. And here's far less people, a little less intimidating when there's like less people in the crowd. I can change like the ratio of like male to female avatars. So here's like more female avatars. Here's more male avatars.
Alex, can you drag that control panel over just so we can?
Yeah,
see
so
it?
yeah.
And then what about the venue?
Yeah, so we can
Venue? Yeah, so let me,
go ahead and go to new.
yeah, I'm gonna go home, let's hit speech. Here's a lot of different things. So a bigger conference room, there's a classroom, lecture hall. So it's not like something that's like fully customizable, where like you have all this like freedom in the environment to just like put down a 3D world and then just like make that happen. But it does give you like a good range of different like places and scenarios that you can use for your speech and what you want to practice. So like if I went to the lecture hall, I like using the lecture hall a little bit because it does have that feeling where like you have a little bit more distance from the crowd, but now you kind of feel the eyes on you since they're like kind of looking down. So give that a second to load. Yep, there they are. Some of them have laptops, as you can see.
Oh, we should mention that they also do things that audiences would do. So you can have it so that they cough or that they they're looking at their phones or they're getting disinterested. You can have it be some of these less ideal situations where the audience is just not into it, or the audience is preoccupied with something else. You can see that they're individually animated. So they will have their own kind of set priorities for what they're doing. So maybe they'll fall asleep. That's actually happened in the one. Like it's yeah.
Now, is that rudeness triggered by your performance, or is it just a base setting that they're harder to get to?
If you reach, I think it's in the like how it evaluates your monotone or like evaluates how slow you're talking. That does have an impact to it. But you can also then it's like audience can be rude. You can have that be a set modifier as well. And you can even, through the modifiers, increase how rude they are. Yes.
One question, I was a few minutes late, so if you covered it, sorry. But the feedback, somebody asked about the feedback, right? Is it derived from a specific language model that you can change, or?
I believe it's like a specific thing in ChatGPT. They are transparent that ChatGPT is what's run the model that it's running under.
Okay.
But talking to it, it does feel different because, like I said, this is like the one time of something ChatGPT. I can get it to say no constantly to me, even while trying to make it agreeable. It'll keep saying no if I am like quite literally not convincing.
Okay. Hey, thank you.
is there more questions online?
We're caught up.
About up?
Are
Okay.
there any questions in person anymore? Because we would like to then open this up to having you, the live attendees, demo it if you'd like.
Can you go to the next slide?
Yes.
Yeah, so for everyone online, I mean, everyone in person too, or if you're watching this from a recording, you can reach us. Here's our contacts over at the CITL. And we would be more than happy to set up a demonstration for you. You have a question? Yeah.
I'm very impressed at how Ovation really helpful for learners or teachers to use for teaching and learning. But based on your experience, what can be improved? What would be the challenge that the user need to know and try to use Ovation?
I feel like the biggest barrier to entry here is just like the basic like understanding of how to control it, how to interact with this interface. Because you're probably more familiar with a computer, with a keyboard and mouse. And then it actually translates pretty well with the controllers once you like understand like what's going on in the controller. Actually, if you put it on the next slide.
Yeah.
There's like a little bit of that that's intended for
Yeah, this is for everyone else.
This is quite literally the controls.
Yep.
When you're getting the experience. So if you if you get stuck, I'm going to have this ready to go for anyone here trying the demonstration. This is how you control it and how you can like move or interact with things in your environment.
And it should be noted that this application for headsets that do support hand tracking, it does support full hand tracking. So everything that you see on the interface there can be interacted with your hand, with your natural hands. Your hand.
I would say it's that hand tracking to controller type of thing because it still has like the pinch rather than pressing buttons.
Yep.
So does it have accessibility features? Like some people might not be as flexible. They might not have that hand movements like other people. How is it? Does it have accessibility features?
So like I mentioned earlier, there is that desktop version, but it does have like a different feel to it. It doesn't have that immersion. I don't feel like I'm talking to an interviewer that I'm trying to impress when I am now like having this huge degree of separation from the screen. However, when you're doing this, you don't even have to have both hands. Like using the controllers, you can just like control everything with one hand. And even just like move like do small movements to get where you need. But there's different ways that you can interact and use it.
Thank you.
This is somebody. Okay, what is the largest environment it simulates? Stadiums?
It can't simulate stadiums, but I think it can support up to like 150 AI people, like individual avatars in there.
I think the biggest one is the debate stage.
Yeah, the debate stage is probably actually.
There's so many people. You have like.
I'll go ahead and show that really quick, just so that you can see.
Is this still connected?
Yeah, it's still connected. I'll go ahead and pull up the spectator view. So go ahead and just take us to the debate stage. Super cool. But yeah, I think this is the biggest venue that they have. And then you can populate it. I think, yeah, go ahead and.
Oh yeah, max it out.
Yeah, max it out.
Okay. Give me a second. It takes a
There it
second to
goes.
load.
All right, so I'm gonna zoom out here. So it's.
Okay, audience at 100.
Yep. It's more wide than it is tall. So like you can't do a 300 person, 400 person gigantic auditorium, but you can get pretty close.
Yeah, and this is pretty populated. Like you really feel like you're on a show and everything. I've tried the debate here. And it's really interesting seeing like a lot of people in this audience trying to do that. So I'll just heads it off.
Does it have any awareness of like where you're looking? So like, do you see to keep eye contact or try to like make a connection with your audience?
Yeah, you can enable it where it'll have some training available for eye contact and hands. Or like if you're fidgeting with your hands too much, it'll give you some notes on that. Or if you're like not like looking, you're not like making a good effort to like look through everyone in your audience, it's going to like tell you, hey, you should probably look at this direction and see the people here. so that you are, making a good effort to talk to everyone.
And I think we mentioned this earlier, but just in case we didn't, you can upload your own transcripts and PowerPoint slides and documents that you have. Let's say you're presenting research, you can upload that through the Ovation portal and have that available inside the presentation area. So let's say, for example, you want to run through a slide deck, but you don't know what your pacing's like. You don't know if the script is going to match well with the visuals. You can upload both of those documents to Ovation and have them in the virtual space with you. And you will have like a virtual clicker or a virtual like laptop that you can then swap slides and go through like an actual presentation.
Alex, can you send it to my view?
Yeah, sure.
Just let me know when you got it.
You are live.
Okay. So here's this exact presentation right behind me.
Yep.
And I have a little remote that I can control it.
Yep.
Yeah, it's quite literally.
Now we'll hold the presentation.
Some of it breaks a little bit.
Yes.
But if that happens, you can just change these pictures yourself so that it looks a little bit better. So yeah, it looks like you didn't take the text.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like there's a W on my name on its own line.
Now that's a PowerPoint error. That's not.
Yeah. It does say like when you like it does its best with PowerPoints, but it's better to turn it into a PDF and then upload that instead. But that's quite literally to really customize it for that kind of experience.
Seeing the debate stage has me thinking, because you mentioned a multiplayer mode, but we've only ever seen a spectator. You can have two live people in this environment.
In the environment, but not speaking at the same time. You still only for like one speaker at a time. Ooh, let me,
What if you were separated by rooms, or if you were in different places on campus or at your
Oh yeah,
house?
if you're in different places on campus, you can absolutely be in the same environment at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is over the Wi-Fi because it is using an internet connection.
So then each individual gets feedback then in their performance?
You'll have to start a separate
An instance, essentially.
separate speech. It's not going to be two people debating each other. It's going to be you are debating the AI when you're in the debate stage.
Oh, that's what I was wondering. If
Yeah.
you can have the tool recording you and another person, real person.
Yeah,
back
at
and
this
forth.
time, that's not really how it works, but it
No.
does. If there's a second person that's in there as a speaking coach, though that's recorded, but it's not evaluated.
Yeah. So it's like you can give like live feedback as well as a coach, but it's not going to try and evaluate you because it basically hones in on one person to evaluate and it focuses on that.
So the session is like public speaking with AI. So is this like more for the individual to learn and improve their speaking skills?
Yeah, this is all about like improvement. Taking that feedback, that extra layer of I'd like to practice in speaking. I say it's better than the mirror. The mirror can't give you feedback. And if you, like I said, if you have someone else try to evaluate you like one-on-one, they soften the blows. They're going to be like, you did great. You have this one thing, and then kind of hide everything else that they had.
I like that feedback part. The only question I have is, it's good to practice, but for example, if you're coming to people like introverts, they might be like, oh, I like practicing with this one because I'm not intimidated by the real people. But then in the actual real world, when they actually go and talk to the real people, isn't using more of this kind of technology like a drawback at some point? Like they're still involving with technology and not the real people?
Well, I would highly suggest you try it because I have been like scared and intimidated by the AI because they're like looking at me like, oh no, I am like not talking well.
Oh.
Yeah, they make eye contact. It feels way different.
You're not getting the sense of how close this, like that debate stage seems like, oh, they're far off and I can't see them. But when you're in the headset, it's like, oh, it really feels like there's an audience. Is it perfect? Maybe not, but it gets you a step closer, I think, to the live.
Thank you.
It's actually kind of designed for that. It's for people that are afraid of public speaking or people that maybe find it best to like do it on their own. In this way, you can get It's like putting yourself almost through like a career simulator where it's a controlled environment. It's a sandbox where you get to control some of the parameters, but you get to do it based on your comfort level, and it can kind of help you through what exposure therapy is what it's called. But by doing it multiple times, multiple iterations, you start to adapt to it, and you can actually then transition from the virtual to the
Thank you.
But this is a very good one. I think we should do this session one more time again. And so a lot of people who missed being in person, probably they could get an opportunity again if we do this session one more time.
Well, I think what we're getting across too is they can contact either of these fellas and set up an appointment and just try it on their own.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yep.
Yep, there we go. Put it back up.
so thank you all for coming. We're going to take some time now. If you'd like to try to demo it yourself, we have this ready to go, and we could help walk you through how to like make a custom experience. And if you're online, reach out to us and let us know if you're interested. We would love to hear back from you, and love to get you in here to give it a try.
Thank you.